Hey guys, and welcome back to another great day of distance learning. Today we're going to talk about what an angle is. So I'm going to write that. Now you can either write this down in your math journal or you can just listen and follow along. So I'm going to write down the word angle at the top of my paper. Okay. So what exactly is an angle? Well, an angle is, or it can be defined, I guess you could say, is a figure that is formed by two rays. Now, if you remember last week, we talked about what a ray was. And a ray is just, I'll write this up here. A ray is just a line that has one endpoint and it continues in one direction forever. Okay, that's what a ray looks like, just in case you've forgotten. So an angle, back to an angle is formed by two rays and they meet at a common endpoint. So I'm going to write that. They meet at a common endpoint. And that common endpoint is it's a word called a vertex. Okay? All right, now, an angle is represented by a symbol. So the symbol for an angle, we'll write it a different color. It looks like this. It looks like a little bitty miniature angle. Okay, so that's the symbol for an angle. An angle is measured using a protractor and you get the measurement is the measurements are in degrees. Okay, so let's go back for a second. What is an angle? An angle is formed by two rays. That's important right here. Two rays. They meet at a common endpoint that's called a vertex. The symbol for an angle is this little guy right here, this little green guy. That's a symbol. You measure an angle using a protractor, and the measurements you get from the protractor they're measured in degrees. Okay, so now I'm going to draw you a quick angle on the next page. Okay, now, so I'm going to draw this angle. I'm going to use purple, I think, to draw it. All right, okay, here's the angle. The angle looks like this. Okay, so here are my common endpoints. They meet right here. This ray goes that way forever. That ray goes that way forever. Okay, when we draw an angle, we have to name it, and we do that by using letters. So we're just going to call this one A, O, and we'll do this B. Okay, so if somebody asks me, what angle is this? Or to name this angle, I would name this angle by drawing the little angle symbol, and then I would start with A. Your vertex letter always goes in the middle, and then that. So that's how you write or notate that without having to draw out the angle every single time. Okay, so the question is, where is the actual angle? the angle that you measure is right here in that, okay? So there's the angle you're measuring. Now, but before we get into the actual measuring part, let's talk about the parts of an angle. Okay, so we have 4 parts. This is called an arm. This is also called an arm. I told you earlier that where they meet, which is right here, that point is called the vertex. And then, of course, you have your actual angle right there. Okay. So this is what an angle looks like, minus all the little labeling words in the green. So angles, we find angles in various things around us. You find angles in scissors when you open them up. Golf clubs, when you lay certain golf clubs on the ground, or you're holding it with one hand and you have the head of the club sitting on the ground, it creates a slight angle at the bottom where the head meets the stick or the shaft part of the club. Then at the back of a chair and the bottom of a chair create an angle. These angles are all around you. Now, there are different types of angles, or I could say that they're classified based on their measurements. So, what are the classifications for angles? There are 3 basic ones. There are a few more, but we're not going to get in. You're just going to learn the 3 basic ones first. So, we're going to get a new page, and I'm going to write on here 3 types of angles. So you have 3 types of angles. The first type, or the first angle, I'm going to tell you about is called an acute angle. An acute angle is very small, and it measures less than 90 degrees. So you have an acute angle. Now I'm just going to call it acute. I'm not going to write the word angle out there because you know what I'm talking about, or I hope you do. All right. I'm going to write the definition. Measures less than 90 degrees. Okay. The second type, and I'll draw you a quick, maybe what, like this may be an acute angle. There's an example of what an acute angle may look like, just one. Now, there's more than that, obviously, but we're not going to run out of room and time, so I'm trying to keep this under a certain amount of time. All right, next type of angle we're looking at, or we're going to talk about, is called a right angle. Now, we'll say this. Most of you probably know what a right angle measures, and if not, you're going to learn. So a right angle always measures exactly, now that's a key word there, 90 degrees. So a right angle looks like a capital L. Sorry, this isn't as straight as I'd like it to be, but you get the idea. Okay, and the last angle is called an obtuse angle. All right, an obtuse angle measures more than 90 degrees. An example of that, it's going to look more like this. There's your common endpoint right there, and then your 2 rays going each direction. Now, I really should have said, I guess I just need to say there are 4 types of angles. The last one I want to tell you about is a straight angle. A straight angle is exactly what you think it is. It is an angle that goes straight across. And it measures exactly, again, there's that key word, exactly 180 degrees. And it looks like this. Okay, now the last thing I want to tell you before I stop this video is the angles in all of these little orange angles that I drew out here for you. They are right here in where there's that angle, there's that one, there's that one, and there's that one. Okay, that would be where you measured them. Okay, so these are the 4 types of angles. We classified them by their degrees of measurement. So acute, the way I remember acute is that it's real cute, so it's real small, and it measures less than 90. Right angle is it's right, it's always correct, it's always 90 degrees. And then obtuse, I think about the word obese, which means big or overweight. And so I think about a big angle. And then straight, well, you know what a straight line is, and that's just like what a straight angle is. So after watching this, you're going to go write in the definitions yourself into an interactive journal that I have uploaded to Google Classroom, into the 4th grade math classroom under the classwork section. You'll be able to find it there. You're going to write these 4 of the definitions in there, or type them in, I should say. And from there, you're going to do a study jam session on Scholastic, kids, and it's a little interactive game about angles. And that'll be it for today. Thanks, guys, and we'll talk more later in the week. Have a good one.